Simply a golden bullet. Hostile completed a golden bullet. Agent received a golden bullet.
Before we get started with today's video, you guys don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more upcoming videos. Hey, what's up everybody, Sierra here, and welcome to another great Division 2 build video. In today's video, we're going to be featuring one of my favorite gear sets called the Eclipse Protocol. But before we get started with today's video, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications, as later on this year, I'm going to be uploading some bigger and better videos for you guys. Believe me, you'll love it. So let's go ahead and get started with the build. First off, the overview of the build. So, as you guys know, I'm running Eclipse Protocol. And Eclipse Protocol is basically a gear set that you can get in the game, and it has to do with status effects. So you can run any status effect that you want. But I chose shock and disorientation because I get an advantage towards the enemy. So if an enemy comes up toward me, I can activate my Banshee, I can bring out my shark traps, and if the enemy runs into them, I can just shoot them down instantly. So that's what this build's about, but you can run any type of status effect you want, so you got a big choice to make on that. But anyway, the first weapon I'm running is called the Scorpio. Now the Scorpio is an exotic shotgun in the game, as many of you guys probably already know already, but it also has the ability to shoot different status effect bullets. So say that you shoot once, it activates poison, 3 shots is disorient, 6 is shock, you get the point. But this weapon is really good for status effect builds, and that's why I love the shotgun so much. And it's an amazing thing to run because of the status effects on it and stuff. So the next weapon I'm running is the Sig MPX SMG. Now the Sig MPX also has a talent on it called Perpetuation, where any headshot that you get with this weapon, it adds a additional 50% status effect damage and duration to the next status effect that you apply. So basically what that means is if there's already a status effect already activated on an enemy, you shoot them in the head with this SMG, then the next status effect that you apply or activate will also add some additional damage, and it will last a little bit longer. So that's what perpetuation basically is, and it's really good for that because at first I wasn't so sure whether to use this talent or not, but then I thought to myself, why not? So I just stuck with it. But that was the good part about this SMG. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, of course, the Biomask. So this is one of the pieces that I'm using. So the Biomask is an exotic mask that you can get in Division 2, and it has to do with the status effect builds and hazard protection, and also does skill haste and all that. But the best part about it is toxic delivery talent that's on it, which applies damage over time, debuff for 10 seconds, and it also adds damage and stuff like that to the enemies as well. It says total damage dealt is equal to 50% of your concussion grenade, but it actually is a good idea to run a concussion grenade because you can also add a little bit more damage and stuff like that. So the next part we're going to talk about is, of course, the chest piece. Now, with 2 pieces of Eclipse Protocol, you get 15% status effects. 3 pieces is 15% skill haste and 30% hazard protection. But running a 4-piece also activates the talent redirect or indirect transmission. Your status effects now spread on kill to all enemies within 10 meters, and so on. So what that basically means is that you activate a skill, a status effect skill, and it immediately goes to the next enemy. If the enemies are together within a 10 or 15 meter distance, like burn or shock or anything like that will just spread all around them, as long as the enemy's not running behind them or something like that. But that's what this whole thing's about, and that's what the indirect transmission is all about. And then the chest piece also has a talent on it, which increases from 10 meters to 15 meters and 50 to 75% duration. So really handy in my opinion. I'm also running a skill damage attribute, so really awesome to run it because of that. So next thing we're going to talk about is, of course, a holster, and I'm currently running a skill haste on it. Really handy as well because you get your skills back pretty fast. Next thing I'm also running is a Kneepad with status effects on it. So I recommend running skill haste and status effects on this build because you will see a difference later on. Next thing we're going to talk about is the backpack. Now the backpack has status effects and skill haste on it, but it also has a talent called Symptom Aggravator. It amplifies all the damage you take or you deal to the status affected targets by 30%. So basically it adds a little bit more damage to each target that you apply a status effect to, and I really do like that about it, especially with this talent and stuff. So I highly recommend this whole entire build if you guys want to run something that will smoothly take out the enemies. Next part we're going to talk about is the gloves. Now I'm running a China Light glove, and if you don't want to run China Light, you can also put on a Wyvern or Hana-U, anything like that. That's up to you. But I'm running China Light with this because of the explosives damage, and I currently have maximized status effects and skill haste. but explosives damage has to do with the concussion. So that's what this whole build's about, is you know, the status effects and so on. So the next part we're going to talk about is the skills, and for my first skill I'm running is Shock Trap. Now Shock Trap is where you can earn in the Warlords of New York DLC by eliminating one of those rogues before you go up against Aaron Keener. So this Shock Trap right here is just absolutely great, because not only this Shock Trap can, you know, spread to different areas and stuff, but the Shock Trap can, you know, multiply and go to different locations, and the enemies can go right over it and they can get shocked, and then you can get an advantage towards the enemies as well. And that's just my favorite part about this skill. It's just amazing. Next thing we're going to talk about is the Banshee. Now, as I said earlier, the Banshee is only unlocked if you equip the gunner specialization, and it's really good because it applies a really big thing of disorientation. So as you guys can tell, I was going up against some rogue agents in the summit, and I decided to use this build to test it against rogue agents. It took me a little while to get through it, but overall it was awesome to see how it was performing, because I was activating Banshee, I was using my Shock Trap, and I ended up eliminating both of the rogue agents pretty easily. I mean, it was just amazing to see the results and how good this build was. And applying Shock Trap and disorientation towards these guys was just awesome. And I really did like that about this build. I mean, eliminating the rogues was just super easy with this build. It was awesome, and I really do suggest trying this out for yourself. Just raise your range up a little bit. If you have a range mod that you can put on it, I would highly suggest doing it. And also put on an effect duration mod, because it really does help it last a little bit longer, and it's just wonderful in terms of the skills itself. So last but not least, you guys, is the stats. So I have 55% crit hit damage and 65% headshot damage for the shotgun, and it will do some really good as well. And the SMG has some pretty good damage in terms of its you know, talent and everything, and its stats. So yeah, you guys, thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and check out this video. I hope that this helps you guys in the Division 2. If you have any requests for new builds, or you want some builds featured, let me know in the comments, or contact me through any of my social medias that is listed at the end of this video. But until then, you guys, have a great day and happy gaming.